following is the agenda for the regular Borough Council meeting of the Borough of Pompton Lakes Mayor and Council and Municipal Corporation in the County of Passaic. The meeting will begin at 7:30 p.m. on March 26th in the Municipal Building, 25 Lennox Avenue, Pompton Lakes. Consistent with the Open Public Meetings Act, the meeting will be open for public comments and shall be in accordance with the terms and conditions of the Borough's Municipal Code and bylaws.
Please stand for a flag salute.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bless this mayor and council as they deliberate on the best of Pompton Lakes. In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, Mayor Dewall have requested and paid for same and published in Suburban Trends. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sarah.
Here.
Council President Holliday.
Here.
Councilman Cruz.
Here.
Councilman Hinton.
Here.
Councilwoman Kent.
Here.
Councilwoman Keller.
Here.
Councilman Bennett.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney, Dave Rutenberg, and our Borough Administrator, Michael Corelli.
Okay, who's gonna, you wanna read that first, Liz, or the introduction, and then we'll discuss? Yeah, the budget.
Okay, for the budget?
Yeah.
So we have to approve the resolution 25-148, self-examination budget of resolution.
All right, we're gonna do these
So we
individually.
just need a
Yes,
motion.
yes, okay. Motion to approve, resolution 25-148.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Resolution
Good.
25-149, authorizing the introduction of the municipal budget to be read by title only.
Motion to approve, resolution 25-149.
Motion.
Second?
Councilman Hinton, you guys are going fast on me. Councilwoman Gilbert, all in favor?
Aye.
Quick.
Against? 25-150.
2025 municipal budget resolution.
Motion to introduce the 2025 municipal budget of the Borough of Pompton Lakes.
So moved.
Councilman Bennett,
Second.
Councilwoman Kilberg, roll call, please.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilburg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Holliday.
Yes.
Okay, so I have to read the municipal clerk to read. The notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution was approved by the governing body of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, County of Passaic, March 26, and advertised in the Suburban Trends. A hearing on the budget and tax resolution will be held at the municipal building on Wednesday, April 23, 2025, at 7:30 p.m., at which time and place objections to the budget and tax resolution for the year 2025 may be presented by taxpayers or others interested persons. Copies of the budget are available in the office of the Borough Clerk at the Municipal Building, 25 Lennox Avenue, and the phone number 973-8350-143, extension 238, during hours of 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., or on the Borough's website.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
Motion.
Councilman Bennett,
Second.
Councilman Hinton, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? 5 minutes, keep your name and address. Please step up.
Hi, my name is Kathy Shortway, Pine Street, Pompton Lakes. Just a couple of things. First, I know that there was a vote last meeting on the new apartment building, and as a result, there was a post on social media saying that one councilperson voted against it, and I chose not to respond on social media, but I'm here to personally thank Councilwoman Polidori for her no vote. She asked smart, pertinent questions, and she voted for what she thinks is right for Pompton Lakes, and I totally agree with you, so thank you. The other thing is, I read on social media that business owners and employees are being charged to park. And one business owner said it's gonna cost him like $6,000 a year between his employees and him to park for the year. And I just feel like it's really, I don't understand why we could be charging business owners. They pay, I'm sure, a really pretty penny for rent. And they're bringing business into town. This one in particular brings a lot in. My son goes to him, and so does a lot of his friends. I just find it unbelievable that we're charging these people. If anybody should get a free pass to park, a parking permit, it should be business owners and their employees. And lastly, I wanted to ask Michael if there was any update on because I had gotten a call from your assistant about the issue I brought up about the plywood, how horrible it looks. And I was wondering if there was any update on that, because she had mentioned that you reached out to the developer about changing the plywood. And I also reached out to Val Cole from BID and about my idea of having like the high school kids paint a mural, maybe even having a contest and have that painted on the plywood, which I thought would be a really cool idea. So I just wanted to see if there was any update on that. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to address? See you.
Gardner Summit, 147 Summit Avenue, Pompton Lakes. So I have two different issues. I wanted to know, what are the rules about parking a car on the street with a cover over it, and it sits out there all year? And I'm pretty sure it doesn't have New Jersey plates, and I can't tell if it's registered because I'm not going to go pick up the cup. But one's sitting right in front of 1 Glen Court, which is right by Maria Kent's house. So I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to park there, and if that's the case, either I can go and discuss it with the owner, which I prefer not to do, the town should enforce its own rules, or whether the town's going to do anything about it, because people are parking cars in the street all the time, cars that are immobile on their property, all through the town, parking on lawns, and there is no enforcement. So, but I'm only concerned about the one right in front of 1 Glen Court because I happen to look at it every morning when I pull out of my driveway. So, Mayor, do you know if there's a...
I'll answer at the end, but I will address
Okay,
that. Yeah.
Great. Now, the next thing is, I actually saw Jennifer's post on, I guess, Proudly Pompton or Perfectly Pompton, and so I reviewed the clips on YouTube to see what went on here. And I have to tell you that the town was hoodwinked, because when you look at the projections, they only tell you what the sum of all the money is. And you say, oh, look at the $2.45 million we get. But you're like Popeye, you're like Wendy from Popeye. You know, they're going to pay you on Tuesday in the future for something today. And so what ends up happening is that value of $2.5 million is only 50% of what you think it is. And then they compared a 20-year pilot to a 30-year pilot. And they said, oh, you get more money on the 30-year pilot. But really you don't, because for the last 10 years you're going to be getting full taxes. So how the presentation was done didn't reflect the economics. So I don't know who on the council has the financial wherewithal. I mean, I miss Rick Steele. He would have told you in 2 seconds that was wrong. And maybe even Terry would have told you it was wrong. But I don't see how anybody here has the expertise to value it. And I looked at what your expert said, and he had a bunch of mistakes. So I don't know where you got these guys from, and you think they're so great they did negotiate for you, but I'm not sure how you can compare that they did a good job from what I saw. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up, Dave.
David Farnick, 107 Federal Hill Road. First, I want to congratulate Randy and Lisa for winning the council, the elections from November. This is your second, right, Lisa, or is your actual first? Oh, from covering for Bill. Oh, okay, so this is your actual first, and same with Randy, so congratulations, and Bobby. Okay, yeah, likewise with Bobby and Mac. I was at the first Board of Ed meeting this month, so where Dr. Amoroso gave out the awards to the CERT. And yeah, and not knowing Chef Foley is on it, so which was new news to me. Says he walked in the room, and I'm like, Chef Foley, what are you doing here? I didn't know you were on a cert. Yeah, and the night, it's like, Okay, I thought you only cook. And he said, no, I do more than that, Dave. So anyways, so as Jared Luciani opened the meeting the second time for open comments, I told the school board that I'm on the email list for Jenks Boardwalk. In Point Pleasant, obviously, you all know that. And then in late February, they sent me an email showing what's going on within the next few months. And also, I printed out for Dr. Amoroso to give to all the schools, to the principals, and last week I dropped one off at the high school after one of the events I attended, and April 6th, for anyone who's got scouts and family, neighbors, friends, you name it, and April 6th, they're going to have a Scouts Day down there, so the Scouts can help clean up the boardwalk and the beaches. Girls, any of you on Scouts? Yeah, so anyway, so if anyone's got any scouts, and then you could go to www.jenksboardwalk.com to register your kid if they want to go. Then if anyone does go down on Saturday, the 5th, and needs a motel to stay at, then I highly recommend the Point Beach Motel, which is where I stay when I go down there. Great place, great staff, and it's like so close to the boardwalk. So like if you walk from the bench to a little past Carnival Center, that's how close it is to the boardwalk. You don't have to walk 5-6 blocks down a street or whatever, so it's like that close. And in April only, they give you a break on the price since no one's down there, obviously, until May. So you get like, if you stay 2 nights, or 3 nights rather, then it's $100 a night per person. Then you get your third night free. Then you check out the 4th day if you're only gonna stay 4 days.
Okay, Dave, your time's up, but I thank you.
So I have another part, going in next.
Next day, that's fine. Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session? Councilman Brennan?
Second.
Councilman Hinton, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, about the parking. Yeah, unfortunately, like all towns around us, we have to pay for parking here, because there's lots of employees, and if they take up all the spots, then no one would have a place to park, to shop. So we have a lot of businesses in town that have a lot of employees. Now, saying that, we are working on, we already offer a reduced rate for employees, and after talking with our administrator, we're gonna fine tune that a little bit for some businesses that are have in and out, like 1 hour, 2 hour, like a gym or something like that, where they might pay a little less of a rate, just for the 1 hour. But, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, for 2 hours, it's $1.60, is that what it is?
It's $1.
$1 for 2 hours. So I don't know where they're getting a $6,000 bill. That's a pretty high bill. They might have a lot of employees and, they can buy parking passes though for how much is that, Mike? 180?
It's $50 per employee per month.
So it's $50 a parking spot for an employee, someone working there, per month. So I don't know where that number's coming from. So, 5 employees is gonna cost them $250 a month. So that's with that. Mike, you have any update on the awning? I know you reached out to the county and...
Yes, I had given that to the redevelopment director. I'll follow up with him tomorrow.
Okay. Mr. Senate, about the cars. First of all, it doesn't have to have a Jersey plate to be parked on the street. Okay, it does have to have a registration, you are correct. If the car does not have a registration, anyone could call the police and say it doesn't have a registration. I do not know the ordinance on a covered car. If somebody could look that up, Mike?
We'll follow up tomorrow.
We could find that out. If there is an ordinance that says you can't have a covered car in the street, then we'll send the police over there to address that. There might not be an ordinance that says that, so I'm not sure of that. Any other situations with cars? We have addressed the police when they're driving around, if they see cars on properties or something, to write summonses, and they have been. So I can tell you that is something that I've said this before, that affects me too. I don't want to see that, so it's important. About redevelopment. So first of all, we hire experts because that's what they do. The gentleman that was speaking and that speaks, all they do is pilots. So they recommended everything. It didn't come from this council. They make the recommendation to us, and that's why they present to us to give us that information. Now, one of the statements you made was, it reverts back to taxes. Yes, it reverts back to the taxes where we get a small percentage. As a pilot, we collect 95% of the taxes. So there's a bigger change, a bigger chunk of change coming to the town for a much longer time. So saying we collect taxes, we would only be collecting taxes at a much lower rate. And that's not the same number that we're collecting now. So, and that's why every town around us is using pilots right now. Riverdale's gonna have a huge pilot. Wayne's been using them for years. We're not unusual in what we're doing here in any shape or form. And that's why the state offered them to make that happen. Dave, thank you for that information about the Boy Scouts. If anybody's interested, then they go down to Jenkins, that would be great, and have a little fun and go down to the beach. It's always a good thing. Okay, consent agenda. Anybody need anything removed? Minutes.
Yes.
Mayor, the approval of minutes?
Yeah, I don't see it. Oh, that's good. I'm sorry. Thank you. Motion to approve the following minutes: special budget workshop meeting minutes, March 12th, regular meeting minutes, March 12th, closed session meeting minutes, March 12th, 2025. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Brennan, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Authorizing the bills and wires as listed below. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilwoman Kilberg?
Second.
Councilman Brennan, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Now, any consent agenda, anybody need anything removed?
25-141.
Okay, anybody else? We're good?
Yeah.
Okay, Liz.
Whereas the mayor and borough council of the borough of Pompton have reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Pompton does desire to remove resolutions for individual action from that agenda. Now therefore be resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 25-139 through 25-147, and we're going to remove 25-141.
Okay, can I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilman Bennett?
Second.
Councilwoman Kilberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? 25-141.
Authorizing shared service agreement with the Township of Wayne regarding homes being purchased in the FMA 2023 SWIFT sub-grant agreement.
I'm gonna let Mike explain that, but that's more of a, first of all, you have a question? You have an actual question, or?
Oh, yeah, I have quite a few questions.
Okay.
Do you want Michael respond first, or?
Well, let me hear
or my
questions,
questions first? All right, this is an agreement between the Town of Pompton Lakes and the Town of Wayne. Town of Wayne, there's 4 houses to be torn down in the south end of town. A statement on page 2, number 3, says, in an event of New Jersey Office of Emergency Management fails to reimburse the town of Wayne for monies it expended to complete the buyout of properties listed above, Pompton Lakes shall be wholly responsible to reimburse the Wayne for all monies it expended and then seek recoupment of the money directly from the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management. Now, in that statement, it says, in the event of the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management fails to reimburse Wayne, then who would think that they're gonna reimburse Pompton Lakes?
It's a good question. I'm gonna reach over to our attorney. Do we have an answer to that? Or
Well,
Mike?
this is, Michael and I discussed this. The property owners have already agreed to the sale of the property. Michael, what am I missing here?
I did speak to the township administrator in Wayne. From my understanding, they have a full commitment from FEMA for the funding. I do have prior experience with the FMA sub-grant, they call it. You know, it would be an unforeseen circumstance that this would occur, in speaking with the township administrator. We did express those concerns to Wayne, and, you know, we're satisfied, you know, after speaking with them, and, you know, Dave could add anything, if you have any concerns.
Any questions about Wayne? Mr.
So,
I would just underscore that I have, you know, we've done these before in our other towns. This is the standard approach, and I have never seen where the township undertaking the work has not been reimbursed, so. But we are aware of it, we did bring it up, and we got the assurances that we're comfortable doing it.
a new term, force majeure?
No, that's events beyond the control of the parties.
An act of God.
Yes, correct.
But also, through the years that I've been standing at that podium and asking questions, I might have asked a question or two in my time. Talking to our ex-borough administrator, Kevin Boyle, he said from a point in time, this was years ago, when he was on, that there would be no more tear downs of houses in the south end of town, only elevations. But here we are now, he's telling us that we're gonna tear down 4 more houses.
Well, it's a program though that's offered. We can't, we don't demand that. We don't say it. It's offered by the state. So if they take part in the program, then.
So what you're saying is the town of Pompton Lakes has no say as to whether or not the homeowner tears the house down or not? I mean, from what Kevin told me, there was gonna be no more tear downs, only elevations like the town of Pequannock. From what I understand, they're only doing elevations, not tear downs. So we lose 4 more houses, round numbers, 10,000 a year property tax. That's another $40,000 we're gonna lose per year.
Yes, so Councilman, I did meet with Blue Acres this week, with their manager within the Blue Acres program, to ask that specific question in anticipation of ratifying this agreement, and they do have 3 more buyouts on the horizon. I was told that.
In Pompton Lakes?
Yes, I was told that that is a wholly state-managed program, and us as the borough, we really don't have any jurisdiction or say whether it's a elevation or buyout. I guess perhaps we could look into an ordinance of some sorts, but we'd have to consult with our attorney in closed session about that. But again, Blue Acres confirmed to me that it's really up to them. You know, and I would add that Blue Acres also confirmed that with the new presidential administration, they're not sure how long the release of future funds will take. So they're not sure that any future buyouts beyond the 4 in this interlocal agreement would take place in the next 2 years. I mean, it really could be a while before we could see any other buyouts.
So those extra 3 may not happen.
I'm told it's not going to happen anytime soon.
But I'm gonna say this, Mr. Councilman, I agree with you. I mean, losing taxes, you know, I went through this one time before, and it took us a couple years to get out. Saying that, it is the homeowner's decision, though, which program they're going to use to get out with. And so they could pick, if they like the town and want them to stay in like their areas, they could do an elevation if they wanted to. But these homeowners are choosing to get out and sell the property.
So the aspect of that is that homeowner is making the decision, which is gonna affect the town of Pompton Lakes forever.
That is true.
And you do have to meet certain criteria. You have to be what's called the repetitive loss zone. So not all homes in the South End are repetitive loss. I believe there's a certain listing. Liz would have it in her office.
Well, actually, the flood management.
Floodplain
Yeah,
management.
so a repetitive loss means that FEMA wants it off their records, basically.
Well, what really bothered me was that if Town of Wayne is not reimbursed, that we have to make everything whole for them, and then we have to fight.
Well, but if I'm understanding,
For our
what these two are saying is that the money's already put aside for these houses and we're good to go?
Yes, when I read the agreement, I reached out to Michael with that, exactly that concern. We have received back the adequate assurances that this money is already in place. And so there's no basis for the concern. My concern being exactly what was happening in Washington and whether it would cut off those funds now, but those funds have already been allocated from my understanding.
Yeah, that could be a problem too, yeah. Okay, well, any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Could I have a motion for ordinance 25-141?
Motion.
Councilman Bennett? Need a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Kilburg? Roll call, go ahead, we'll do a roll call.
Councilman Bennett?
Yes.
Councilman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilman Kennedy?
No.
Councilwoman Kent?
Yes.
Councilman Silver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Collier?
Yes.
Okay, ordinances?
First reading will be presented for second reading and final adoption on April 9th. Ordinance 25-15, an ordinance establishing the annual compensation for a member of the Pompton Lakes Municipal Utilities Authority.
Motion to approve ordinance 25-15 for introduction.
Can you ask for discussion now or after it's?
After after.
Motion.
Second.
Council President Paul Dory, Councilwoman Kilburg,
Discussion.
discussion?
Can you just walk us through the general purpose?
Of course. I would rely on our borough attorney a little bit, but from my understanding, the borough has historically memorialized the annual salaries for the commissioners of the Pompton Lakes Municipal Utilities Authority via ordinances. And the Utilities Authority at their March 17th commissioners meeting made a motion to increase the salaries by a 2.5% COLA for the fiscal year 2025. The salaries for chairman and members are included in the ordinance. And, just for the public, this is not funded by the borough. This is funded by the utility
Rates.
Rates
Right.
of the MUA. Thank you.
So all we do our job here is to vote on the amendment that's sent to us, right? The ordinance.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a practice that's done everywhere,
Yeah,
but I think they
absolutely.
do it for the sake of transparency.
Okay.
And so, because I can tell you as an authority attorney, there's not a huge public turnout for authority meetings sometimes. And so, by doing it this way, there's a little more transparency since it is a municipal utilities authority.
Okay.
Question I had, it's a 2.5% increase?
That's what's listed, yep.
That's my understanding.
We had a 2% increase. Is the job of commissioners in the MUA a little harder, that they need a 0.5% more than the council?
I'm not gonna argue that. I don't know if we can even argue, can we argue the number?
Yeah,
I mean, really?
as I said, this is really for the.
0.5% more?
No, understood.
Not that I'm jealous, I was willing to give up my 2%.
I don't even know.
To
if
the
we can-
secretary.
I don't even know if we can argue the percentage. They're presenting it to us. We could just vote no to the ordinance if we wanted, but.
Yeah, as I said, the fact that they do it as an ordinance is really for transparency. I think if you voted down the ordinance, it would send a message to them, but I don't think it would have the effect because they're a standalone authority. They can give themselves that sort of raise without coming to this municipality, without coming to the borough.
They're
asking
not
for
part
an
of us.
ordinance.
They have nothing to do with us, so.
So,
It's a unique practice, I'll say that.
so as the liaison to the MUA, which I am, if I vote no, is that gonna make all my future meetings pretty interesting?
That's up to you to decide.
You would know better than us.
Right.
I had a discussion with one of the commissioners down there, and he had said that the raise, our salaries have to be competitive. And I thought for a minute, how are your salaries competitive? Competitive to who?
Other MUAs, I'm guessing.
Well, in order to be a commissioner of the MUA, you have to be a resident in town. And you're appointed by this council, correct?
It's a recommendation.
Recommendation. So what are you competitive against?
These are all questions you should ask as liaisons to the MUA.
I will. You know I will.
I just for the record, I don't know off the top of my head whether we have an ordinance in place that says they have to be a resident in town.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
The Municipal Utilities Authority law specifically does not have that limitation that you have to be a resident in town to be on the MUA. And the reason for that is when you have regional authorities, a lot of times the municipality will appoint its engineer who may not be a resident of the municipality, but the engineer, because of their expertise, is there, they choose them as a representative. So I'm just saying.
As a commissioner?
It may not, yes, as a commissioner. It may not be that there's a residency required for the MUA.
But you should ask that question.
Yeah.
I mean, I figured it out, it comes to like 41 cents a day, but
Okay.
if they need that.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bennett?
Yes.
Councilman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilman Hood?
Yes.
You're not giving me the 41 cents, I don't know that.
Well, we've divided up your salary before.
Yes, you have.
Councilwoman Kent?
I'm going to recuse from voting,
Because we're up there.
You're abstaining?
abstaining.
Councilwoman Hilbert?
Yes.
Councilwoman Collier?
Yes.
Ordinance 2516, an ordinance amending Chapter 2 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, and revising the term of appointment of special police officer.
Motion to approve ordinance 25-16 for introduction.
Motion.
Councilman Hittman.
Second.
Councilwoman Kilberg. Any
Discussion.
discussion?
Same thing.
Thank you. Yes, so this ordinance was brought to us by the police chief to specifically amend our code regarding our Class 3 officers in the Pompton Lake School District. The ordinance amends the term of the officers to coincide with the school year, typically August or September term start date. The ordinance right now, I believe, is written on a calendar year basis. Additionally, for Class 2 officers, as it's in the same chapter of the code, this ordinance confirms that those Class 2 officers are sworn in at the first council meeting of the year, which takes place in January. And the section about officer limits is amended per statute to confirm that there's no limit on the number of Class 3 officers that we, the borough, can have. And also confirms that Class 2 officers are subject to the 25% cap limit within the police department. So in other words, we cannot have Class 2 officers that exceed 25% of our police department, and that's per state statute. So again, this ordinance was brought to us by the police chief and was looked at by our attorney. Thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Bennett?
Yes.
Councilman Cruz?
Yes.
Councilman Hinton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent?
Yes.
Councilwoman Hilbert?
Yes.
Councilwoman Collier?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, under my report, I have a relatively short report. I first got to thank our DPW and staff for doing our great work they've done outside on the floors and the painting and the walls. That's all nice to see internally done for the first time in a long time, where we used to pay out to get this kind of work done. So I'm glad to see we have people interested and the manpower willing to do that work, and it's only going to get better. They're going to do some more work as they move forward, so I thank them all for doing that. You've probably noticed in the back, they've started the work on the Civic Center. They're tearing that apart. They got the roof off of it. They got the inside gutted. They hope to start moving along and get that building up and running. I hope to have that up and running again in the next month or two where we can start to have our meetings again in there, and we're adding a women's shower for our women police officers and locker room. These are things that we needed, some office space, and then we still will have our meeting rooms back there. So that's a good project, and remember, that was brought to us by the redevelopment project in town. That was one of the side pieces of this. They're doing that at no cost to us. I attended a personnel meeting. I performed a couple weddings. I attended a meeting this afternoon with our JIF and our labor attorney, and that is my report. Council President Alderi.
Okay, I have a few things to report on behalf of the coalition. They have some events coming up that they would like to make us aware of. They are hosting a Diamond Classic at the high school on April 5th with a rain date of April 6th. If you remember, they did something similarly at the high school about a month and a half ago and had a tremendous turnout. This is a fundraising event for the coalition. It helps offset the costs of the programs that they run throughout the year, in addition to the fact that we are currently waiting for a response for a continuation of the grant that was recently submitted, which I want to take a minute to thank Ryan Gossiker. He really stepped into something he was unfamiliar with and worked really hard to submit that. I think he did a good job, so I'm very proud of him. I thank him for that. He also wants to remind us that the Walk for Hope, also taking place at the high school, is on May 18th. There are already up to 50 registrants, and they are hosting on the 30th a fundraising, I'm sorry, this is not a fundraising game, it's an event to bring awareness. They will be attending the Devils game with 30 people representing and attending. So he expressed happiness for the turnout that he's had at the last few events. And then, not necessarily town related, but I did attend a PTA meeting for the high school, at which it was mentioned that in the first week of April, there will be an individual holding an assembly at the school to discuss the upcoming movie that will be filmed with some of the students in town. They are filming an anti-bullying movie, and they're going to be opening some open casting calls for some of the students. So hopefully, if this comes to fruition, we will have some of our students participating as well. So excited to hear more about that. And then just in response to a comment that was made tonight in regards to the lack of ability to, I guess, look at the information. I'm not going to share my thoughts on how that was perceived, but I will tell you that it was about approximately a month before that presentation that I had fought pretty hard up here to have that moved to a later date so that we could get additional information to review, so that we could make a more educated decision. Because I felt it was very important to see numbers based on different terms so that we could evaluate whether or not that was in the best interest of the borough. I will tell you, the Monday of that week for the council meeting at which that presentation was given, I had reached out and asked why a month had passed and we had not been given any of that information to review. And here it was Monday before the council meeting. We had already received our packet and those comps were not included. I was told that they were not provided. It went back and forth with, we didn't provide it, we weren't asked, so on and so forth. The additional information was provided to us Tuesday before the council meeting with little to no time to review it. It was reviewed in a presentation that left limited time to ask adequate questions and then immediately voted on thereafter. So while I understand your position, I will tell you that the way that information is disseminated and shared and the timeliness of it for decisions as impactful as that is an absolute disgrace. And additionally, if you're looking at those numbers, perhaps it would be also of interest to look at the impact of additional services and expenses incurred in the year that they take place, such as increased salaries, increased personnel to compensate for additional residents moving into the borough versus the amount of money that's collected over a deferred period of time. And that is my report.
Thank you. Councilman Cruz.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a fairly brief report. Attended the Board of Health meeting on March 17th, 2025. They discussed all business. They've issued the 2025 retail food licenses and 2025 vape licenses. Final notice was mailed to establishments who have not submitted applications for 2025 retail food establishment licenses. Food Mart and Deli is, I'm not sure if that's the one by King and Sons.
What's it called?
So Food Mart and Deli pled guilty after receiving a citation. The details of the citation were not discussed during the meeting. I was trying to figure out if that's the one by King and Sons. Good Guy Vapes will be going to trial following a citation and hearing.
That's a good one.
Well, they're saying that the juices that they have on sale did not create any type of information related to fruits or anything of candy, I guess, in nature. They saw otherwise. So they're actually going to be fighting this. Obviously, they're going to court, and I would imagine they're going to lose. Oh, okay. That's actually by where the old Subway used to be. That's where they are.
Oh, over there, okay.
Let's see, new business. Mike Fasoletto will be filling the vacant seat on the Board of Health. Congratulations. Dami Sushi, new sushi establishment located at 246 Wanacue Avenue. Let's see, the 2025 public pool applications were sent to the Highlands, Summit Falls, and Iron Forge condominiums, and application packets have been updated for Pompton Day. And for correspondence, several more anonymous complaints were received about chickens at Watervliet.
Yeah, they've been getting out, a lot.
I've seen pictures.
Yes, they've been getting out.
There's a little group of them.
I will tell you, the police are involved and speaking.
We're going to move on to Board of Adjustments, which I attended last night. There were some questions regarding the West Lennox Bridge by Mr. Abate. They wanted to know the dimensions regarding. So I don't have any details, Michael. That was from Frank Abate on Board of Adjustments. He was inquiring about.
I don't know if we have the.
Do we have any information relating to the structural?
I do, yes. I could send it to you.
Yeah, just send. I'll forward it off to Mr. Abate. Colliers Engineering and Design, they were approval of bills for the engineering and design professional services. This was for the Montclair Avenue project. Let's see, we've had no applications. Two resolutions were approved. BOA 25-04, that is for Hunter Place. BOA 25-02, Industrial Riverdale Road. Let's see, appointment of Open Space Committee Representative. Mike Haas will continue to represent the Board of Adjustments. And,
Mike Costerson?
Yes, he's, I don't know if he actually wanted to go, but okay, he agreed to it. And they also shared the 2024 variance report, which I believe a copy was provided to Liz. And a copy of the variance report as well was sent to Collier Engineering and the Planning Board for review. Just so everyone knows, they look for trends to see if anything needs to be changed based on the variance report. At this time, I don't think from their discussion, they didn't see anything outstanding, but we'll wait to see all the program committees and boards to review, and that'll do it for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Hinton?
Could I have a question for Councilman?
Yes.
Montclair Avenue project?
A Montclair Avenue,
What is the status? Is that man still trying to?
they don't discuss that.
No, so I can help you with
That was with the engineering,
Right,
so
yeah.
you can.
So he's still in discussion, he hasn't come back in a long time, but
really?
it's still floating around,
Oh.
he hasn't presented it again.
So he's still thinking of the project?
I can't speak for him, but, he came once, so that's all I can tell you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I have something to read. Motion to approve request for Lakeside Middle School to close a portion of Lakeside Avenue, Lakeside Ave from Van Ave to Mandeville Street for the 8th grade awards ceremony scheduled for Monday, June 12th, 2025. Rain dates, June 13th, 2025, and June 16th, 2025, from 6:15 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., and to make Van Avenue between Lakeside Avenue and Lenox Avenue a one-way street from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Notify police, fire, first aid.
Have a second.
Second.
Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay.
I attended the MUA meeting.
Oh, there you go.
And I had a vote yes on, so they don't hang me when I do that. They're just normal operating procedures, and, but they did state that the sewer plant is at 74% capacity now. So any future building is, we're pretty close to 100%, could be in a few years. But, so I don't know if there's been any talk on whether or not they can expand the sewer plant. But that's pretty much what they just had to say. We had a seniors meeting at the, in Riverdale, but it was canceled because they had a book fair. So we're going to have the seniors meeting was pushed up to tomorrow.
While you're talking about the seniors, next time you go to the senior meeting, ask them if they're gonna prefer to come back here to Civic Center or wanna stay over in Riverdale, you know, when this is done.
If and when this is done,
Should be relatively soon, yeah.
they'll have a choice whether they can stay in Riverdale.
Unless Riverdale's throwing them out, I would say yes.
Well, this is an agreement you made with the mayor, correct?
Yeah, but I don't think there's an issue, but I don't know where they'd rather be, so you could ask them where they'd rather be.
Do we know the mayor in Riverdale? Does anybody
You can
know?
reach out.
So yeah,
I'll tell you, one of the concerns they had here was that the parking was a little tougher for them back here.
that's the aspect. The parking in Riverdale is beautiful.
Yeah.
Works out well for the seniors, there's no steps. Anybody with a walker or a wheelchair, they have no problems at all. So yes, I will ask
Yes,
them.
okay.
And, but I think they would probably prefer to stay there because parking is very bad here.
Okay.
Also, we were out Lakeside Park planting daffodils. So that turned out pretty good. I'll let Councilwoman Kent talk more about that. And then I got a phone call from, I know I'm not really affiliated with the Shade Tree Commission anymore, but through the years that I was, planted a lot of trees. So I still have a lot of people calling me, and I had a resident from 15 Butler said her tree was leaning. So I went over and straightened it out. I hope I didn't step on anybody's toes.
Don't know if you did or didn't.
So it's straight now. And then another resident called me about a tree in her backyard. Her neighbor's backyard.
Did you actually physically straighten the tree? Is that what you did?
Yes, I did.
Oh, wow.
At 71, I still got a little.
Okay, good for you.
And, but I told the resident that the tree is in private property, and they're gonna have to work with their neighbors on that, so. And that's all I have to report.
You also are gonna be addling eggs with myself, I think, right?
Excuse
Didn't
me?
you say you'd be addling eggs with the?
Yeah, if you're willing to add them with me.
Well, I don't know about that, but we will be addling at some point.
As soon as the geese start making a nest.
Yes, we will. Don't forget your umbrella. Councilwoman Kent.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I attended the CERT training program, although I'm already CERT. I took a refresher. We do have some new recruits coming in. That's always nice to see new faces. I attended the Open Space Committee, and we discussed at the time possibly funding the replacement of the dock at Lakeside Avenue. The dock issue was something that we did a while back. We have a 5-year program, but we have a situation right now where the docks are badly rotted, and the current dock is no longer viable to use. They're concerned with the the ability to have it float properly, and somebody could get hurt. So I think they're looking, we were asked to whether or not we would offer at least 50% of the open space money instead of, in addition to the capital money, for, I think it came out to like $25,000, $30,000. Because it just came up that night, we're gonna come back and discuss that. I can't imagine anybody saying no to a dock. I am concerned with the dock, with boats going out there. I was there the other day planting the daffodils with Councilman Hinton. And boats that were launching were tying their other boats to the current dock, the floating dock. Now that is not intended to hold anything other than a walkway. So we really have to decide what we're gonna do. We gotta keep them out
Mike, do you know
there.
if we can legally tell them not to do that?
We'll require it.
Yeah, we'll find that out.
Yeah, because that'll wreck our docks.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, okay, so anyway, so I will take a vote. If you want me to do
Sure,
a
yeah.
straw poll, I can do a
No,
straw
we can
poll.
wait the 2 weeks.
Okay, so I will come back with their recommendation, okay. We assisted, kind of funny, because we always talk about the pretty daffodils in town, and we have over 10,000 now. Just this past weekend, I believe we planted almost another 1,000, and we have to thank Councilman Hinton on that, because he actually saved some abandoned bulbs from last year. Usually you don't plant them in the spring, you usually have them pop in the spring, but just the situation was. So he did salvage them, and he asked me to help pass these bulbs out. So we had the Environmental Protection Committee plant 500 bulbs in Lakeside Park, the Elks Joe Lewis Memorial Area, the DuPont Village Park and Playground Area, and the Pompton Lakes Riverdale Carlo Field flower boxes. Again, special thanks to Randy Hinton, Councilwoman Lisa Kilberg, EPC Chairman Steve Begg, Director Barbara Murphy was there to tell us where the sprinkler systems were in the Lakeside Park. We also had a nice visit from the Pequannock Township Chairman Robin Jones from the Open Space Committee and his wife Lisa. They were interested. They've always taken an interest in our town, in our open space projects, and they came out and actually dug a couple trenches with us. I also want to thank from the EPC Bernadette Chamili, Michael Fasaluto, Michael Shacatano, Lloyd Kent, Mike Meeker, and Alexa Reed. They were all wonderful helpers. In addition to those plantings, the Pompton Lakes Women's Club planted 375 bulbs in the public library reading garden section. And I want to have a special thanks to Carmelina Fusaro, Councilwoman Kilberg, Christiane Jennings, Chairwoman of the, Friends of the Library, Ellen, which I'm sorry, did not get her name, of the library board, and other women club members, Kelly Salas, Barbara Jennings, who helped plant with the bulbs, and Keith and Joe Jennings, because they were the strong arms and did the plantings, did the trenching for us, which was much easier than having the women do that. And it's always nice to have the husbands and the gentlemen help. I attended the St. Patrick Explorers Passport Dinner to Ireland. That was an amazing dinner for the group, and they decorated the excuse me. They decorated the Elks as if it were they were in Ireland, so they have the little passports with them, and it was a lot of fun. And Councilwoman Kimber was there helping me serve. What did we serve? Corned beef and cabbage, and
Irish food.
Lots of Irish food, lots of food, period. And a special thank you to the Elks for their hospitality. I want to personally thank all the DPW crew, gentlemen and women who helped revitalize our entranceway to the municipal building. I can't thank them enough. It is beautiful, as you said, Mayor, and I know our clerk also helped.
Very, very hard.
Yes, and she helped.
On
Weekends and yeah, and Liz, I want to thank you for helping pick out the nice flooring. It's always nice to have. It was.
All 6.
You don't want to take the blame, that's what it's about.
All 6 or 7 women agreed. So.
Yeah, it was something that bothered me for many years. Actually, it was really poorly displayed what our town is about, and I just really want to thank them. We're also working with Administrator Corelli and Sharon Sony, and we're looking to try to get the PBA for a little financial assistance, and I want to thank Michael for doing that, to buy the police display cases. And they're very expensive because they're thick glass and they're expensive. I'm assuming that our DPW would probably put it together, but we're working on that. Hopefully that'll all be done by next month. So that's a project that I'm very proud of. I attended the bid meeting, and the bid had elections for their new executive board, 2025-2006 board members were announced, and they voted on their budget of $339,000. That is not taxpayer dollars. That is monies that is taken from, that is paid by the property owners that are in the bid. So that is not taxpayers don't pay that. And they have a number of upcoming projects, and I believe they're looking to hire a manager.
Yes.
It's coming up anywhere from $9,000 to $15,000 salary. So if anybody's interested, they do have a resume. They're asking for resumes for people that are interested in that project. The Pompton Lakes Volunteer First Aid Squad is holding a fundraiser. It's an upcoming beefsteak Tricky Tray fundraiser on April 26th. And of course, they're looking for donations of gift baskets, gift cards, merchandise and services to raffle off. If anybody is interested, I guess you can drop them off at the First Aid Squad by April 5th. So if you can get something out to them, they're all volunteer, they do a wonderful job, and thank God they're there when you need them, so let's support that program if we can. And we met the CTO students tonight. I'm looking forward to working with the students on the government. Angie, who I met tonight, is supposed to be me, and she is my neighbor, so isn't that nice that we kind of all met? I do have a question for Liz. Liz, when do you need the updates for the calendar?
I'm working on it right now.
Okay, so it's coming up. It's not due yet. And then I just wanted to just advise everyone. I know that back in October, I think it was in October, we signed a resolution that we were in agreement that the industrial turbines along the Atlantic coast were of a concern because they did not do all the permitting properly and they did not do all the studies. When we did sign that 6-0, it was unanimous. That project is dead. There's no funding for it, and they've pulled the permits. So thank you, everyone. Now, when you sit on the beach, you will not have to look at industrial size windmills, whatever you want to call them. And there's very, very happy towns down in South Jersey. They've all supported this whole issue of not building these things. They just didn't have all the right information. So we were a part of that. You should be very proud of that. And that is my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kilburg.
Thank you. I would like to thank Dan, Mickey, and the entire Buildings and Grounds team for the wonderful job they did beautifying Borough Hall. It really does look wonderful. Thank you. I attended an EPC meeting. The Pompton Lakes River cleanup is Sunday, May 4th from 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. There will be food for those who come back hungry and some prizes as well. Columbia Bank and the Pompton Lakes bid have been so kind to donate to the river cleanup again this year. I would like to thank Jean Hoffman and Valerie Cole for all they do to make this event a success. A few members from EPC planted daffodil bulbs, which Maria reported about, so I won't go on about that. I did attend the Explorers Passport event, and as Maria did as well, and Father John was so nice from St. Mary's to teach them the Irish jig. It really is a wonderful event. I love going to them. I attended a library board meeting. There will be 2 events sponsored by the Passaic County Solid Waste and Recycling Program, one on Wednesday, April 9th, and then on May 14th. Michael Drazik will reach out to Lenox and Lincoln schools with the information so that they can share it with the parents, because they did hold 2 other events, one in February and one in March, and no one really knew about it. So we're going to get them to share the information. They're also looking into having an art contest and possible fundraiser. The picture or drawing selected will be on the next library card. And as soon as I know more information, I'll share it with all of you. The IMLS, which is the Institute of Museum and Library Services, is cutting their funding. We don't know exactly how it's going to affect the library, but it may affect them. I attended a recreation meeting. The walking club at Lakeside School is on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m. through May 4th. Field hockey camp is July 14th, 16th, and 18th at the Lakeside Middle School turf. Middle schoolers from 9 to 11 a.m., high schoolers from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., break from 11:30 to 12. The Pompton Lakes Rotary Beefsteak Dinner is Saturday, May 10th. For tickets, you can contact Carl Padula or Sue Barone. Pompton Lakes Easter Egg Hunt is April 12th at 2 p.m. at the Hirschfield Park Tennis Courts. Pompton Lakes residents only. Bring your own baskets. The rain date is April 13th. Pompton Lakes Recreation Softball Clinic for girls, grades 1 through 8, is March 31st to April 4th. Lakeside Turf or Gym from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Registration is on site at 6:30 p.m. or you can sign up on communitypass.net. Pickleball is Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lincoln School. The drop-in fee is $15. The next session of pickleball will be April 26th through May 17th at Lincoln School. It's $40 per session or $15 drop-in fee. June 21st is the third annual Pompton Lakes Pride Celebration on the library lawn from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Get Fit is Mondays and Wednesdays and runs until May 21st. It's $55 for all classes, $40 for 10 classes, or a $5 drop-in fee per class. And now I have two questions. One is about the Hirschfields Park play equipment, when the project will be completed, and if it will be before summer camp. That was some of the questions. And then two goes along with what you said, Maria. It was about the T-dock and how it's rotted underneath, and we needed a new one. And we just wanted to make sure, because people are being seen tying off onto the railings of the other dock, and it's going to bend them.
Yep.
And we're just concerned, they're concerned they're going to break them. And so where do we stand in repairing it or getting a new one?
So the dock
to
to everyone is important. So when
Yeah.
Michael and I first heard about it, we said we want to fix it this year. We want to get it done this year. It's pricey, so it wasn't in our budget. So he's looking at funding right now with our CFO to see where we can get it. I've also reached out to some private donors to see if they'll be willing to help. But either way, I think, and with the open space, either way, I think we're going to have it as soon as we can get it. They have to build it too. We'd like to have it for the spring and summer of this year.
It will be the T-dock, though. It's not going to be...
It's same situation.
Same thing
we
that's
have,
there?
yes.
Okay.
And I'll let Mike talk about the swings a little bit if you want.
Just on the dock really quick, we reached out to Easy Docks, I believe is the company.
Yep.
That put in the other docks. It is a T-dock. We're looking to actually, it's more of an L dock to
Okay.
kind of make it go away from the opening of the boat launch. But we did get a formal quote. We're waiting on a little bit of a discount, so I'll send the quote to the governing body. We're identifying funding. We'll coordinate with open space, and we'll go from there. But we're trying to get it in as quickly as we can.
Thank you.
Regarding the playground equipment that was authorized at the February council meeting is on order, expected to ship by April 10th. Will be installed well ahead of summer camp.
Okay.
So it should be a nice addition for the campers for the summer.
Good.
Great,
So we'll
thank
keep you
you.
updated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Councilman Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. Historic met last evening, nothing of note. RDA met last Thursday, there were no applications. I want to congratulate the Steel Magnolias Robotics team for an excellent season. We advanced to states, the first time in 3 years that I've been involved, and then unfortunately we did not advance to worlds, but the competition was very fierce. The robots that we were up against were next level stuff and very impressive. And the last thing I want to report is over the weekend, our dojo, Kinnelon, traditional Okinawan karate of Kinnelon held a shiai, and there was a bunch of promotions, including a handful of black belt promotions. In my family, my younger daughter was promoted to junior black belt. My wife and my older daughter was promoted to Shodan, first degree black belt, and I was promoted to second degree black belt. And that is my report.
Congratulations to that event. Attorney's report.
Nothing in open session, but we will have a brief closed session to discuss co-litigation.
Yes. Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. So for the residents, please be advised that the Dawes Highway Improvement Project, which consists of the resurfacing of Dawes Highway from Riverdale Boulevard to River Edge Drive, will begin on or about Monday, April 14th. The first 2 weeks will consist of stormwater management and drainage improvements, followed by an additional 4 weeks of concrete work. Milling and paving will occur during the month of May, and residents will be duly notified ahead of time. The work hours for the concrete and drainage will be 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. There's not expected to be any major traffic detours for that project initially. We do have a pre-construction meeting with Passaic County Community Development Block Grant Program for the Lakeside Ave ADA Curb Ramp Upgrades Project, which are new ADA ramps from Van Ave to Jefferson Ave along, again, Lakeside Ave, and that's funded by the county. And lastly, I did meet with the county's new Economic Development Director, Giancarlo Leonardo. And we discussed several projects and upcoming grant opportunities for the borough. So, we're looking to have him at a future bid meeting, so it was good to meet with him. And that's my report.
Did we follow up on the the flashing lights? Did we hear any more about the flashing walkway? Wasn't somebody questioning, it wasn't you? Stop sign. Oh, the stop sign. The stop sign, right? Stop sign. Yeah, at, Van, I think, and,
By Lakeside Middle School.
Lakeside Middle School.
Yeah, that's included in our NJDOT grant.
Okay, so that's when they're gonna
that
actually
we
do it?
received for the resurfacing of Lakeside Ave, which will take place next year.
Okay. Any questions, Administrator?
Yes, that was,
Good. One here.
question on the, New Jersey Builders Association suit,
Closed session.
That'll be our closed session discussion.
way ahead of me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did not have questions, Mayor. I just had to mention two more items. Just want to make sure, I just want to get this out there. There was an announcement sent by Michael Corelli. This is for the Fallen Soldier Battlefield Cross. There's going to be, the Passaic County Board of County Commissioners advise the public to honor and remember the sacrifices of American servicemen and women at the unveiling of the Fallen Soldier Battle Cross statue during the National Vietnam War Veterans Day ceremony. This is going to be on March 29th at 11 a.m. And it's going to be at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall, 300 Oldham Road, Wayne, New Jersey. I just want to make sure they get that out there. Obviously, it's a very important event. Council members, obviously the public, everyone is invited. And lastly, I was hoping that Council President Paula Dore would have mentioned this. I'm not sure she got this yet, but get over here. Pompton Lakes Cardinal Coalition Diamond Classic, promoting mental health awareness and stigma-free movement in our community. This is going to be Saturday, April 5th. This is going to be held at Independence Park, and this is going to be a doubleheader game schedule with Pompton Lakes High School versus Lakeland Kennelon Junior Varsity. That's at 10 a.m. and then 12 p.m. PLHS versus the Lakeland Kennelon Varsity. Again, this is going to be April 5th. Start time is at 10 a.m. for JV, 12 p.m. for varsity. And there's going to be free admission, food truck, and resources for family.
I mentioned it.
Did you?
Not with as much detail as you did, because clearly you have a firmer grasp on sports than I do.
I'm sorry. It's a double header.
I think together we really drove the point home, though.
Anyway,
That was a pun.
there's a lot of
I am
events. There's a lot of events going on with the coalition. Okay, that was it, man.
Any other questions for Administration? Nope? Okay. Where am I? Motion to open the meeting for public comments.
So moved.
Councilman Cruz, Council President Paul Dory. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please come up.
What do we got here?
Are you calling us boring? Is that what you're saying?
Just uncomfortable.
Just his foot.
So I want to go back to the Gardner Center, 147 Summit Avenue, Pompton, New Jersey. I want to go back to what you said about, after they start paying full taxes, whether the town, what share the town gets. Now, what's going to happen is 20% is going to go to the county, because that's about the county share, give or take. But the rest of the money is going to go to the town and the school. And whatever goes to the school lessens the burden on the property tax payers in this town. So to say that the town retains more, it's true. They retain with the longer pilot, they retain more. But the real effect is that the taxpayers, who pay property tax, still get the burden reduction when they're paying full taxes. So you can't look at how much the town gets and then compare it to when we go to full taxes and we have to share it with the school, because the people who pay the taxes end up paying less. So it's a completely specious argument. I just want to point out that, and a couple of other things that went on in the meeting there that I caught. So I made some notes to it, and so I'd like to know, because it wasn't discussed, are the assessments frozen in a pilot program? So the question is, over time, you would expect the assessments to increase. So if the assessments are frozen and you can't increase it, then it's really a greater benefit to the landowner than you know. And then there was some discussion about how some developers need the property taxes to attract financing. Now, that's what I do for a living. I finance commercial real estate, and they say sometimes they can't get it without. The only reason they couldn't get it without is because they don't put up enough cash, and also because the developer may not have the financial wherewithal to attract a loan, or they may have a poor record of getting projects done on time, like we see in our town. So that's part of the problem. It's not just the economics of the situation. And then there was some conversation about this is a speculative development. People would rather put their money in the stock market. Now, since I finance commercial real estate, I don't consider this speculative at all. In fact, it's actually better than the stock market because at the end of the day, you own some real property as opposed to just owning shares of stock. So your expert made some statements that just weren't correct. And finally, I haven't seen the numbers, so I'd like to see them if I could get a hold of them. When you're talking about the cost structure of a developer putting a project together, in this project where he said his costs were $6.3 million, how did he put the land cost in? Did he put it in at value, or did he put it in on his purchase price? Because in a case like this where somebody's owned it forever, the land cost really is a sunk cost. So it's just the construction cost. So if he's going to go borrow $4.4 million, it's just going to be for paying for the construction. The money he spent for the property, he spent it years ago, and it's almost nothing. And then finally, how is the town going to audit the project's gross cash? Have you hired an accounting firm? Do they do audits? How soon is it? We know we had that project by the post office, and are we actually out there auditing and getting paid? Let's see. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else from the public like to address?
Good.
David Farron, 107 Federal Hill Road. As some of you may know, that I'm on the Booster Club at the high school, and also so for those who have been to the basketball games and or wrestling matches over the winter, that you've heard Dr. Perspolinski mentioning that April 24th at Black Bear Golf Course at 138 Route 23 Franklin, there's going to be a golf outing up there, and from looking at the flyer that Nicole Jones posted on Facebook, she says there's going to be raffles, 50/50s, prizes, and so forth, and costs are $150 per player, $540 for foursome, and $75 for dinner only. Then check-in is at 12 noon, and then the event starts at 1 p.m. and then RSVP by April 4th, so that's what, like next Friday or so? And for further information, if I were you, I'd get in touch with Nicole or Justin Jones for questions or whatever that they may have on it, and see, what else do I got? Yeah, then going back to what I said about Point Pleasant, so if anyone has scouts in their family, friends, or whatnot, then if anyone's got me on Facebook or my cell phone number, then text or call me or message me on Facebook, and I can fill you in further on the motel as I was saying earlier, than my time right now. And, so I think Justin, Nicole, and Dr. Wisniewski and Mr. Mattel appreciate me mentioning this, so I got myself out of detention.
Okay, thank you.
Did you get any in school, Michael? Oh, come on, you had to.
Okay, come on, Deb, we got other people gotta come in. Thank you.
I got quite a few.
Any other members of the public like to speak? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Councilman?
Second.
I don't know who that was down there. Councilman Hinton, Councilwoman Kilburg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Mr. Senate, yeah, I do agree that they get the 60%, but the problem is they're in charge of that 60%, where I understand in your mind it's the same tax dollar, but when the 60% comes to us, we can decide how we're gonna use that money. It might be to offset taxes, it might be to offset a recreation project we're doing. We might not want, and I'm not saying this because I do support the fields, maybe they wanna put in a new turf field with the money they collect. Maybe we don't want the turf field. You know, it works both ways on that money. At the end of the day, you are correct, it is taxpayer dollars for both sides, but that's how we look at it. We're gonna have more of the money to determine how we're going to use it. The questions you brought up, I cannot answer. I wish you were here last week, you could have asked those questions and had them answered right there. I'll see if I can get you some answers on that. We do have someone in charge of checking the pilots and how they're collected. Mike, is that correct? It's
That's correct.
what group is it? I'm sorry.
We have Phoenix Advisors,
Phoenix.
they're our formal pilot billing company.
Right, so they're in charge of making sure that they're doing the right thing. And you're right, the first year, it was a little confusing, but we were new at it. So that's why we went in and hired a professional to handle the payments. And now, if I'm understanding correctly, Michael, the payments have been on time and everything's good? Okay, Dave, thank you again for that information. It was good information. Motion to close the public session.
So moved.
Councilman Cruz,
Second.
Councilwoman Kilburg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Privilege of the floor, any privilege of the floor?
I just have one comment. I was discussing Spruce Avenue or Spruce Street, I'm not sure which, it changed names, I think, somewhere. For the problems with the road. The road's in terrible shape. We've brought this up. The residents there have brought this road to our attention when Paula was our administrator.
Is it on
And
the
they're
list, Mike, you know?
still complaining about it.
Yes, it's included in our 2025 road improvement program.
So it is included. 2020, and when will that occur?
I don't have a time frame yet, but we will put out an announcement once the funding is in place and the bid specs are prepared.
Okay, so what do I tell them? Just,
It's included in our program and more information is forthcoming.
okay.
For this year. It's this year, yeah.
Oh, it is this year?
Yes.
Okay.
2025.
All right, thank you.
Any other? Yes.
At our last council meeting on March 12th, residents, open public session can come up. We had the 61 Q Ave came up, and we've all been trying to get information on that, and we've all discussed it as best we could. The resident, God bless him, who came up and has every right to say what he wants, will remain nameless, but he kind of accused the council of asking too many questions. Looking at Councilwoman Kielberg and Councilwoman Polidari, that's the direction he was looking. But we're all elected by residents of Pompton Lakes to ask questions. We had the professionals here, and we were asking questions. This is what the small amount of money we all get paid to do this job. This is what we're supposed to do. I'm very proud of Councilwoman Kielberg and Councilwoman Polidari and how inquisitive they are and questions that they ask. And this is the job that we're supposed to do here. And the resident was kind of accusing them of asking too many questions, and we all know who the resident was. We thank him for his service in town also. But we don't know all the answers to everything that goes on. We need to ask, you brought the professionals in, um, Borough Administrator brought the professionals in for us to ask those questions, and this is the job that we're supposed to do.
And I do agree with you, I have no issue with anybody asking questions ever about anything. That's our job, to get as much information as we can, and figure it out. But unfortunately, on the other side of that, in open session, residents can say whatever they want.
This resident was pretty upset.
I
pretty
understand, and,
red-faced.
I've been yelled at many times by many people from that.
Never me, Mayor.
I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. But at the end of the day, we should all learn to be a little more polite to everyone as we speak to them. I agree with that.
That's true.
Okay, any other? No. Okay, motion to adjourn into closed session.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Denny, Councilman Cruz. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Have a good night.
Closed session. In closed session, we discussed negotiation and personnel. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilman Lennon, Councilman Hinton, all in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Thank you.